Thousands took to the streets of France to protest against anti-Semitism. The demonstrators marched under the slogan, "That is enough," in Paris and other cities. Former President François Hollande and Nicolas Sarkozy joined a rally led by Prime Minister Edouard Philippe at the Place de la République. These rallies were organized after a surge of anti-Semitic attacks in the past few weeks. Earlier, about 100 graves were desecrated with Nazi symbols in a Jewish cemetery.
Un visage marqué par la colère, par la pitié.
The ambassadors of Germany, the United Kingdom and France met with Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido. Guaido won further pledges for international aid for the crisis-racked country as several European countries announced new assistance. Over $18 million in humanitarian aid and 70 tons of medicines and food have been pledged by the European nations. Venezuela has shut the maritime border with the nearby Dutch Caribbean islands. This comes ahead of an opposition effort to bring in humanitarian aid from foreign territories. Maduro has rejected offers of foreign aid, denying there are widespread shortages. The closure blocks movement of boats and aircraft between the western Venezuelan coastal state of Falcon and the islands of Aruba, Bonaire and Curacao. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker says that no existing European members will block extension of Brexit if Britain asks for it. Juncker added that British voters would have to take part in the polls at the end of May if the extension lasts until that day. Britain is due to leave the EU on March 29th. An extension of Article 50, which determines the exit date, must be agreed unanimously by all the EU remaining 27 member states. US Senator from Vermont Bernie Sanders has announced that he is running for presidency in 2020. The 77-year-old announced his candidacy in an email to supporters. Sanders mounted a challenge to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Sanders says that he would push for many of the same issues that powered his 2016 bid and resonated the young voters. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has welcomed Sanders to the White House race. However, he feels that the Democratic hopeful probably missed his time. US President Donald Trump says that he is looking forward to a good meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Remember, the two leaders are set to meet on the 27th and 28th of February in Vietnam. He went on to say that he wants Pyongyang to ultimately denuclearize but is in no particular hurry. Trump says that sanctions against North Korea would remain in place in the meantime. He noted that Pyongyang has not conducted nuclear or rocket tests recently. Trump, meanwhile, also says that trade talks with China were going very well. He has suggested that he is open to pushing off the deadline to complete the negotiations. He said that 1st of March was not a magical date. Tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports are scheduled to rise to 25% from 10% by March 1st. This could happen if the world's two largest economies do not settle their trade dispute. The US and China launched a new round of talks in Washington yesterday. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with their representative from the US Chamber of Commerce in Beijing. This meeting comes ahead of fresh trade talks with the US. Wang expressed his hopes for a trade deal and urged the two sides to work together to reach an agreement. Myron Brilliant, the executive vice president of the US Chamber of Commerce, says that the chamber remains hopeful of a long-term trade deal that can be hammered out during the trade talks. Chinese businesswoman dubbed the Ivory Queen has been sentenced to 15 years in prison by Tanzanian court. She has been convicted for smuggling the tusks of more than 350 elephants to Asia. Yang Fenglan and two Tanzanian men had been charged in October 2015 with smuggling 860 pieces of ivory between 2000 and 2004. The two Tanzanian men have been sentenced to 15 years each. Conservationists have welcomed Yang's conviction. Ukraine's president signed a constitutional amendment committing to joining NATO and the European Union. President Petro Poroshenko says that securing Ukraine's membership in the European Union and NATO was his strategic mission. Poroshenko told Ukrainian lawmakers in the parliament that he aims to make a formal bid to join the EU by 2023. He said that he knew Ukraine needed to go a long way to meet the criteria of joining NATO and the EU. Meanwhile, European Council President Donald Tusk declared that there is no Europe without Ukraine. A house fire in a Canadian city has killed several children from the same family. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation has identified the family as Syrian refugees. The children ranged from 3 months to 17-year-olds. A man and a woman were injured and are being treated in a hospital. Police and fire officials have not yet determined the cause of the fire. The Syrian opposition civil defense released a video of the aftermath of the shelling in Idlib. They are a volunteer group also known as the White Helmets. Government forces reported to have shelled a bakery, killing at least 4 people, including children. The video shows the volunteers fighting the fire. Syrian civil defense says that the bakery was out of service. Bosnia has arrested 6 migrants from Afghanistan. The authorities say that they have suspected links to international terrorism. The group has been placed under surveillance in a migrant center. Authorities believe that they have entered illegally. Their identity is being confirmed and the officials are seeking the removal from Bosnian territory. Meanwhile, 4 people have been injured in an avalanche in a Swiss ski resort near Crans-Montana. Reports suggest that more than 10 people may have been submerged. The avalanche affected a designated ski track. There is no official confirmation of deaths. However, more than 4 helicopters are searching for possible victims above the avalanche area. Greenpeace activists in Moscow protested against whale prisons in Russia's Pacific coast. The activists believe that the mammals are being sold to Chinese marine park for $19 million. Greenpeace says that it is a torture to keep these animals in that condition. About 100 orcas and belugas are being held in small temporary enclosures in a bay. Prosecutors have opened a case and arrested animals. Activists fear smuggling of whales. President Donald Trump has described the Pulwama terrorist attack as a horrible situation. Trump said that it would be wonderful if the 2 neighbors, India and Pakistan, get along. He added that U.S. will comment at the appropriate time. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department deputy spokesperson has urged Pakistan to punish the perpetrators of the attack in which 40 Indian soldiers were martyred. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric says that the United Nations is deeply concerned at the rising tensions. He added that Secretary General Antonio Guterres is available to mediate if both the countries ask for it. Earlier, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi sent a letter to Guterres seeking UN involvement. Dujarric also said that the Secretary General stresses the importance for both sides to exercise maximum restraint and take immediate steps to de-escalation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi broke protocol to receive Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince at the Parliament Airport in New Delhi. He gave Mohammed bin Salman a warm hug as he received him. Prime Minister Modi welcomed the Saudi Crown Prince with a show of Indian culture. This is the second meeting between the Indian Prime Minister and the Saudi Prince in the last 3 months. Mohammed bin Salman is accompanied by high-level official delegation, including Saudi businessmen, during his 2-day visit. Official engagements of the visit are set to begin today. ruling party of India, the Bharatiya Janata Party, has forged an alliance with Tamil Nadu's ruling AIADMK ahead of the 2019 general election. This is in a bid to expand its base in the southern states where it has marginal presence. The BJP has been assigned of 5 of the 39 parliamentary seats. They will also be teaming up for the by-elections. The alliance will contest the Tamil Nadu elections under the leadership of the AIADMK. The Duke of Sussex served a healthy lunch during a visit to London Youth Centre. This was a part of a campaign to get young people to exercise and eat healthy. Prince Harry met with young people and volunteers at the John Caulfield Centre in South London. The Duke spoke to them about the experiences at the centre and its role in the community. Children at the centre presented Harry with a giant teddy bear named Ted as a gift for his first child. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle was seen leaving a New York City hotel for a baby shower. According to a magazine, she is expecting her first child with Britain's Prince Harry in the spring. This was her first trip back to the US since her marriage to Harry last May at the Kensington Palace. Kensington Palace has declined to comment on the reports. 37-year-old Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, arrived on Friday and is staying at an unnamed hotel